Hi, Waikay stands for What AI Knows About You, and it's a tool that allows you to see the visibility of your brand or your competitor's brand in things like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude and Perplexity. What it does is going to be really important as we move forward in a world where information comes out of machines rather than human beings, because keyword tracking, as was used in search engine optimization, won't work in LLMs. And we all know that LLMs hallucinate, but there is usually a reason why they're hallucinating. And by evaluating what AI knows about your brand over time, you'll be able to measure their understanding of not just your brand, but the main services of that brand and the target topics. You're going to be able to check facts, fix hallucinated links, and adapt your content to get more exposure when it matters most to you. So Waikay will organize what AI knows about you so that you can work out how you get more mentions in LLMs. So it's going to be great for search engine optimizers, for example. It's also going to help you fact check what AIs know about your brand so that you can see and you can correct the narrative. So it's going to be great for PR agencies. You're going to be able to find out where your competitors get mentioned by AI instead of you, for example. So you can aim to replace them and gain market share over time. So it's great for the marketing directors. And finally, you can track and score the AI narrative that AIs have about you over time, so you can measure your brand's progress in the LLMs. So it's great for market analysts as well. So let's dive in and see how it works. This is the homepage after you've logged in to Waikay. And this particular one has 7 projects already in here. You can create a project just by clicking on New Project. Let's go and create one now for Nike. I've got one already. Let's go and have another one. So you just put in the name of the brand, put in the website, and then choose a target market, because we do a lot of search API lookups to try and fact check what your website is about and the things that are important to your brand. So the first thing that we do here is we have a look at competitors, and you can choose which competitors are important to benchmark yourselves against, because it's not just about how much visibility you have inside an LLM. It's really much more about whether you are better understood than your competitors. So then when you start a project, the first thing that Waikay does is it builds a knowledge graph of the content of the main parts of your website. So it's reading Nike.com's website now and building out a map of the main topics that are important to Nike. And this is really important because without doing this, you haven't got the ability to properly cluster information and build reports around topics. And we found that then you're going to need thousands and thousands and thousands of lookups, and still you're not really going to get proper information. So by building out a picture of your website first, we find that everything is much, much better. However, when we want to start tracking everything, it becomes much easier if we know the business that we're involved in. So let me just dive into InLinks and take you through the demo based on a business that I understand. And this is important because if you do not understand your own business or the business that you're analyzing, how are you going to know if the facts that come out by the LLMs are correct or hallucinations? So I know about InLinks.com, and you'll notice that I've got 2 competitors here, and they were ClearScope and MarketMuse, and so I've chosen those. Now, when you go into reports for any one of your projects, then the very first report that gets created every single time is a brand overview report. And this will end up always on the bottom of the list of reports. So these are for reports about what LLMs know about InLinks.com in the context of search engines or SEO tools or artificial intelligence. So you build different reports for different business areas of your brand. But this first report is a brand overview, and it really just asks the LLMs to say, what do you know about this website? So if we dive into this one first, all the reports look very, very similar, but let's go through this and show you some of the problems that are revealed and some of the insights that are revealed from this report for Inlinks as a website. So the first thing is that we score what each of the LLMs, we've got 4, we've got Persona, which is perplexities, we've got ChatGPT 4.0, we've got Google Gemini, and we have 2 versions of Google Gemini. We've got the TD, stands for training data, which is the data that they used when they initially built their model. And then grounded stands for, GR stands for grounded, which is when the LLM is enhanced by doing a lookup of Google search results. So Google has this potential to leverage real-time results. And then we also have Claude by Anthropic as well. So we've now built a score out of 100 for each of these LLMs and each of these domains. So we can see, for example, that ChatGPT really does understand what Inlinks does. And you can see for yourself by clicking on this little eye here and see what it thinks about you. So it's got a very good understanding of what Inlinks means to ChatGPT, and this information turns out to be pretty accurate and correct on this particular example. If we go to one that's less of a good score, for example, Claude, we've only got a score of 28, so maybe there's some issues here, and I can go in and we can see that Claude Sonnet says, you know what, I can't browse the web in real time, and so I'm going to be cautious, and so it's going to say that it doesn't know very much about Inlinks. It knows a little bit. It provides SEO and content optimization tools with a focus on internal linking and semantic SEO, and that's about it. So now you can see that we're doing that. By the way, this is a scheduled report, so we're running this over time. So the last time we ran this report, it was, you know, even less information known than there is now. So what we show on the screen is a rolling average. So currently 28 is 56 plus 0 over 2. So now we've got scores over time, and as the reports go over time, on the right hand side here, it's not live on this particular version, there will be a chart of how your scores in these engines are going over time. And we can also compare to our competitors. So we get a little bit of a summary here that in this case, Market Muse is slightly ahead of us. And here's more of a warning, is that we're not in Gemini's training data, which you can see here with the red. So this is quite important, but fortunately, neither are ClearScope and neither are Market Muse. So Gemini has to rely on the search results to be able to give meaningful information about all of these 3 businesses in this context as well. So that's our very first insight into what the AIs know about Inlinks.com. But now we go on to the links section of the report. So whenever there's links mentioned in output, then we record this information. So you see that here we've got on Perplexity, we've got 5 for Sonar. So if I click on that, we can have a look and see what we've got. And we see the response back again, 93 out of 100. Sonar seems to know us very, very well. And then we've got these citations down here, and we've got 5 here, but because we've got the actual request was, what do you know about Inlinks.com? We're not counting Inlinks.com itself. So these are interesting things, ICANN and LeadIQ, and then 2 other internal links about Inlinks. So that's where the 4 come from, and this one isn't. So now we've got a bit of information about the links that are coming in, and we see what happens when our competitors have got links coming in as well. So we're doing better than our competitors because we've got more citations about us or links about us. And what we also do is we check those as well, because we find that there's an awful lot of hallucination in the links or citations that the LLMs come out with. And in this case, it's fine. There's a bunch of 301s and 200s, but we quite often find 400 responses here, or possibly even 500 responses here. So links to pages that don't exist. That's a great opportunity because we can show you here, or show you in here, that you can just create redirects and you can benefit from just improving a data link that's coming out in an LLM. And then down here we start to work out where you might be able to influence things. And this is part of an ongoing project. So we're seeing what kind of things what kind of topics your competitors what sort of topics are being talked about when we look at your competitors' LLM output versus what's happening when we ask the LLMs about your brand. So all of them are all of the LLM output seems to be using these kind of topics, but when it comes to insights, for example, the concept of insights, it would appear that our competitors are getting some prominence around that kind of concept in Sonar, at least. And down here we've got acquisition, and we've got integration and stuff down here. So we've got some ideas of things we might want to talk about to improve our visibility in the LLMs. And so what you might want to do is develop some online content around these kind of topics if you think they're important. So this also gives us the opportunity then to create new reports around new ideas. So if I go on to the new report ideas, then what it does is it has a look, and we've already created 7 reports. We've created them around these kind of topics here, and then we can create new ones very, very easily by saying I want to know what the LLMs know about inlinks.com in the context of local SEO, for example. So I can click that and it will run the report for local SEO, and it'll run it initially just once. On these reports you can see that you can start scheduling them at any time as well, and so I can schedule them to go either daily, weekly, monthly, or not at all. And also when we dive into them, we can start to see the same kind of report that we had before, but now we're seeing it in the context of the topic that we want to work on. So this is a report about inlinks.com in the context of artificial intelligence. And here's something interesting. Did you notice on the initial report, the brand overview report, that Google's Gemini's training data didn't understand any of their brands? But in the context of artificial intelligence, this is interesting because there seems to be some kind of understanding of market news in the context of artificial intelligence. And we can have a look and we say it's limited, they don't publicly detail specifics of their algorithms, there's no readily available documentation or research. In short, it clearly states that their platform uses AI. So they have some idea of, the training data has some idea of market news in the context of artificial intelligence. And here's an interesting thing, is that when we ran this on the 5th of March, it didn't have anything there, and now it does. So things are changing with the training data over time. And this is going to be important because it means that there are things that we can start to do. On this report, you also see one of the 404 links as well. So here we can see that somebody has got a link in an AI to this page over here, which seems a very odd page to come out of an LLM, and it's linking to a dead link. Not a problem for us as Inlinks, but interesting for the competitor if they deemed it important to use Waikay, for example. And then again, we can see some slightly better ideas when we go into individual topics. We can see the kind of things that we might want to be talking about if we wanted to improve our visibility around the concept of topics of artificial intelligence in the context of inlinks.com. So that's kind of the topic side of things. But what is really interesting to a lot of people is the facts. And one of the things that we can do is pull out all of the LLM output and distill these into the facts that the LLMs know about a particular brand, or particularly your brand. So within the context, we ran this a little earlier on, within the context of local search engine optimization, we can see all of these topics here. Let's go and click on SEO, because we've got a lot of things around SEO, and I'll show you what I mean. We now have a list of all the facts that have been pulled out by the different search engines. So on Gemini Grounded, it says Inlinks uses an entity-based approach for local SEO rather than traditional keyword-focused methods. Is that correct, or isn't that correct? Well, you need to know the business to know whether it is, but here's a really good workflow because I know that it is. I can check it and say that's great, that's fine. Inlinks is a known SEO tool provider, that's great. It offers content planning, topic recommendations, etc. So I can go through here, check these things off, and if I want to, I can see them all there, or I can just delete them if they're not really important to my analysis. So we can go to that and trash that one, for example. Now this is really useful because what we can start to do is flag errors, and we find that errors tend to be really potentially quite important. I see I've done one here. Let's go and see what the flagged error here. And so we've got a message here that Claude has come out with. The speaker recommends contacting inlinks.com's support team for accurate information. Clearly, this is something that's come out of a transcript of a presentation somewhere. Not vital to my business, but it would be important if the facts that are coming out are entirely wrong to your business. So let's go and have a look at some more bad facts. So under the concept of SEO tools, it says that there's no reputable information that indicates inlinks.com offers any SEO tools directly. This is not a good thing to come back on an AI. So we may want to look at that and understand it and try and find out why that's important. We certainly want to flag it until we understand why that's there, because we can go and then do an investigation. As a consultant, you can do the investigating, find the important problems, and then find out what it is that you may need to do. So for example, we found that there was a web page on the internet that said that Inlinks is a SERP tracker. It tracks the rankings in search engines, and that's not primarily what Inlinks does. And so we couldn't understand what had happened. And when we really investigated, we found one page on the internet that had done a review of Inlinks and had added that as a bit of functionality. So we approached them and we asked them if they could correct their error, which they were happy to do. Interestingly, that wasn't even a very important page on the internet. We are finding that these citations are not necessarily coming from high-value websites in the traditional sense, the sorts of things that SEOs might see. So if I click on the Mentions tab here, then we can see this in a little bit more detail. So this is now a summary of all the mentions that were in the individual reports, and we can drill into them from here. So we can, for example, have a look at the mentions that come down here, and if we wanted to know what is being said and where we got the philipstemmen.com, which is not a site I know, we can click on it and we can have a look here and see that it's been detected in these following reports. So Market News, it's referring to Market News. We can click on it and we can have a look at the underlying link and the source and the citation to mentioning Market News and seeing which website created that association. So what we're trying to do here is create an understanding at many levels of how an LLM understands your brand. It's pretty straightforward to use. The way in which you build it is pretty straightforward as well, and the costing is designed to grow from very small businesses to very large organizations. So you can check a website for free, but the system is designed to allow you to grow either by the subscription level. So you can buy monthly subscriptions either at 8 reports a month, 30 reports a month, or 90 reports a month. And then if you want to, you can, as long as you've got a paid subscription, you have the ability as well to buy extra reports on top of that if you suddenly have to do a bunch of reports. Now, it may be that you can have a $20 a month or $19 a month subscription. That'll give you 8 reports. Bear in mind that if you want to run your brand report every week, then you're going to run 4 reports just running your brand every week. If you want to run it every day, you're going to need 30 just to run your brand report. As soon as you start using your topics and you start tracking topics and things, those numbers can of course increase, and we would expect them to increase as you're using the product. But we wanted to make sure that even the smallest of brands had the ability to track what was important to them without having to pay the earth. We always like to do this. I hope that you find Waikay really valuable. Please tell your friends about it. It's going to be a very, very effective way of analysing what AI knows about you.